Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the rapidly evolving landscape of agentic AI right here in the UK. We are cutting straight through the hype to break down the 5 companies that are actually shipping these highly complex systems into live production environments in 2026. All right, let's get right into it.
So, there's actually a pretty staggering contrast in AI adoption right now. About 1 in 6 UK businesses are using AI in some capacity, but, and this is the real kicker, only about 7% of those adopters have actually deployed anything truly agentic. You see, most organizations are still just, typing queries into a chat window. An incredibly small fraction of businesses have managed to cross that chasm and get software running unattended on live data.
So, why is that number so incredibly low? Well, the crucial thing to understand is that the barrier isn't the AI model itself. The real blockers are entirely about operational design. Before a proof of concept can ever go live, organizations have to strictly define action boundaries, establish rollback procedures, and map out some incredibly complex escalation logic. And on top of all that, UK buyers face a very specific constraint, a strict regulatory expectation of human oversight. Literally any agent touching funds, credit, or insurance claims needs a thoroughly tested human intervention point before it can be deployed. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover the UK agentic gap, speed and fixed scopes, high stakes and voice volume, regulated data and scale, and finally, finding your perfect fit. Section 1, the UK agentic gap. The distance between a basic chat interface and a fully autonomous agent is a massive leap in operational maturity. Moving to unattended software that runs on live data requires an absolute paradigm shift. To cross this gap, an organization simply has to solve that operational design problem we just talked about. And that leads us directly to the 5 archetypal companies that have actually figured out how to solve this for UK businesses today. Section 2, speed and fixed scopes. First up is our fast builder archetype DBB Software, which is perfect for teams that need rapid deployment. They have this brilliant quote that perfectly illustrates their philosophy. AI accelerates the work, the architect governs the outcome. DBB Software uses AI-assisted development, leveraging tools like OpenAI Codex, Google Gemini, Claude Code, and AWS Q to heavily compress their build cycles. But the key takeaway here is that senior architects own every single decision. The AI does the heavy lifting, sure, but human expertise totally governs the final result. So, how do they actually pull this off? Well, DBB utilizes a highly structured 30-day MVP path. It kicks off with a 2 to 3 week discovery sprint, then moves to a 1-week proof of concept that puts 30% of the product onto a platform like AWS, and finally finishes up with a 1-month final build for the remaining 70%. And what's really amazing is they lock in the scope and the architecture completely upfront, which requires a total client time commitment of roughly just 5 hours. This sequence is specifically designed to stop agent programs from just stalling out after a cool demo. And honestly, the hard numbers back them up. They shipped the Choo-Choo Rail ticketing MVP in literally just 12 weeks. Their work on Renovai's AI design assistant drove a 30% jump in revenue growth. Plus, they are ISO 27001 certified with a 1-hour incident response time post-launch. So if your team needs a fixed scope, certified secure, working agent in production within a single quarter, DBB is the absolute perfect fit. Section 3, high stakes and voice volume. Now, vastly different specializations require completely different agentic foundations, and here we're contrasting 2 entirely different beasts. On one hand, we have faculty, known for national-scale decision systems where high-stakes safety is the ultimate priority. And on the other hand, we have PolyAI, whose entire focus is massive-scale, rapid-response voice agents handling sub-second live conversations. So it's a real contrast of methodical safety versus massive-scale speed. Let's look a bit closer at faculty. They are actually the UK's highest-profile applied AI consultancy, boasting over 400 data scientists and engineers. I mean, they built the NHS COVID early warning system. Their frontier platform simulates cause and effect before any live deployment even happens. They essentially act as the auditor for huge government and defense programs. So for faculty, having deep regulatory audit trails and simulating outcomes matters way more than mere speed, which makes them absolutely essential where failure carries massive, real-world consequences. Then, on the completely other end of the spectrum is PolyAI, which is a Cambridge spinout. Just look at this tech stack. They pair their proprietary Raven LLM with Owl ASR to allow for sub-second response times across more than 45 languages.
They offer a roughly 6-week go-live timeline and boast over $200 million in backing from heavy hitters like NVIDIA. They're even named in Gartner's 2025 Magic Quadrant. If you're running a massive contact center and you need to replace high-volume phone workflows with a system that actually understands live customers, PolyAI is for sure your archetype.
Section 4. Regulated Data and Scale.
Moving into our final 2 company profiles, we're going to focus first on enterprise data foundations. Up first is Quantexa. You see, for highly regulated enterprises, the AI model isn't actually the problem. It's their massive, fragmented data foundation that's the real obstacle. Quantexa solves this by focusing on assembling a single, trusted view of your enterprise data, using entity resolution and knowledge graphs long before they let any agent reason over it. Their decision intelligence platform utilizes a generative layer called Q-Assist, which surfaces real-time insights directly to frontline teams. What makes Quantexa such a game-changer for regulated industries is their modular deployment. They can deploy across cloud, on-premise, or hybrid environments seamlessly. They are purpose-built for compliance and fraud detection at a massive scale, making them the absolute ideal choice for banks, insurers, and other deeply regulated enterprises. Okay, think about this number for a second. 3,100. That is the current employee count of Kainos, headquartered right in Belfast. They are a true public sector giant. They're a FTSE 250 listed company holding top-tier partner status with both Microsoft and AWS. Their dedicated AI practice spans MLOps, natural language processing, and responsible AI across NHS trusts, central government, and defense. But here's the real takeaway for you. For public sector buyers, framework compliance isn't just nice to have, it is completely mandatory. Kainos is unmatched at navigating these complex public sector procurement and governance frameworks. They are the necessary choice when smaller suppliers are simply ruled out by the red tape. Section 5. Finding your perfect fit. All right, we've mapped out the landscape, so now it's time to match your specific business constraints to the right vendor. Your ideal entry point depends entirely on where your organization sits on this matrix. If you need a fast, fixed-scope production build within a single quarter, you absolutely want DBB Software. If you're building a national-scale decision system where auditability and safety are everything, Faculty is your answer. Looking to replace a massive contact center with high-volume voice? Go straight to PolyAI. If your data foundation is deeply regulated and super fragmented, Quantexa builds that necessary trusted view. And finally, if you're a public sector buyer who simply must have framework compliance, Kainos is the giant you need in your corner. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really provocative question to think about. Are your action boundaries and rollback procedures actually defined before you go live? Look, the tools are clearly here, and the top companies are shipping them today. The real question is your operational design actually ready for them? Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive, and I hope this helps you tackle your own agentic AI journey.